Feathers up. Halito to all my beautiful copper colored people. Found here by who?
The Caucasians.
So we got some real deep evidence going on here, y'all. We just gonna go ahead and go right into it, man. And bust some heads. You know, we're gonna expose all these lies. We're gonna get it popping tonight, man.
Yep.
So y'all strap on your seatbelts. We're gonna get ready. Tomahawks out. Let's get ready to rumble. We're gonna go into this. It's called Africatown. So we're gonna go into this, what they're talking about here. And it says that Africatown, also known as Africatown, USA Plateau, is a historic community located 3 miles north of downtown Mobile, Alabama. It was formed by a group of 32 West Africans who in 1860 were included in the last known illegal shipment of slaves to the United States. The Atlantic slave trade had been banned since 1808, is what they're saying. But 110, peep y'all, 110 enslaved people from the kingdom of Dahomey, or Dahomey, were smuggled into Mobile, Alabama on the Clotilda. The Clotilda, which was burned, scuttled to try to conceal its illicit cargo. So this is a ship called the Clotilda that was smuggled over 110 enslaved people, so-called Africans from West Africa in 1860. They burned it and all that, tried to conceal it and all this other stuff. It says more than 30 of these people believed to be ethnic Yoruba and Fun founded and created their own community in what became Africatown. They retained their They retained their West African customs, language into the 1950s. They retained it? Wait, hold on, y'all. They retained their West African customs and languages? What happened to you guys'? The knockoff Africans, what happened to you guys'? None of this happened with y'all? I thought it was beaten and all this stuff was beaten out of you, and this, you can get this on Wikipedia. And we got another one too that we're gonna go into. Same story and all that by a different person, but it all matches up. So I'm trying to figure out is how the heck was they keeping all this stuff, and y'all was saying it was beaten out of you and all this stuff was taken from you, your language. These are people coming from there, from the real place, and got their identity and all that. And it says while their children and some elders also learn English, the last survivor of the original group, Cudjo Kazula Lewis, lived until 1935. Down from a peak population of 12,000. This is, I guess, people started moving in there is what they're telling you. In the 21st century, the community has about 2,000 residents. It estimated 100 of them are descendants of the people from the Clotilda. Other descendants live across the country, live across the Atlantic, or whatever you want to say. They're in a whole nother, they're in that continent that y'all call Africa. They're descendants, not you guys, not the knockoffs. They know nothing about you guys. They was only brought over 110, and you're gonna find out later on that got stomped out. that bloodline got stomped out. Okay, Africatown. And yeah, this is what's a trip though, is that these West Africans, none of them recognize you guys, right? Because as we start going into here, it talks about the Yoruba people was originally, I guess, Nigeria. And which is, they said that the captives were said to be mostly of the Tarkbar tribe. But research in the 21st century suggests they were the Takpa people. I don't know. The research, I guess 21st century, came around and was like, nah, we got to give them a makeover or whatever. But, you know, the Takpa people, what the research found it to be. It says, King of Dahomey, he sold them into slavery at the market of Wida. The captured people were sold for $100 each to Foster, captain of the Clotilda. So let's get into this, some other stuff. Let's get into this. Formerly enslaved people developed a community known as Africatown. Among the first settlers of Africatown was a man named Kujo Kazula Lewis. His Yoruba name was Kazula or Kasola. He was said to be the oldest slave on the ship and a chief. Accounts also refer to Charlie Poteet as a chief, their medicine man. His name was Jabez or Jabba. That was his, I guess, Yoruba name. And it says Kujo was the last survivor of the original group, living until 1935. In the post-Civil War period, the people of Africatown were joined by people from the same ethnic groups. Melanin, because there was no more of them. There was only 110 of them, which it tells you, living in the mobile area. These were people joined them living in the mobile area who formed their own community groups to escape supervision by the Caucasians. Kujo Lewis's son, Joseph, learned to read and write at the church. The settlers founded in Africatown, so they founded the church. They got straight into their religion bamboozle. Pull one over your head. He helped, this is the son, Joseph. He helped preserve the story of his father and the Clotilda, as did the families and latter community schools through oral history. As we get our oral history about who we are from our grandparents, not just our grandmas, we get them from our grandpas, sometimes our great aunties, great uncles. So all this stuff we getting it. The oral, and y'all talking about the oral, all y'all talking about is oral. Like, we supposed to leave that alone. And these guys had theirs passed down. And it passed all the way down. All the way down this oral history. His descendant is Questlove. Or Questlove is the descendant of them. He descends down from them. That drummer from the Roots. He descends down from them. And then it tells you that they got consumed. We're going to go into this. They got consumed by us. Our people swallowed them up. Okay, now we're going to go into the... So it says that they became... This is the post-World War II changes. Up until World War II, Africatown survived as a distinct community, but later became absorbed, taken in as a neighborhood of Mobile. It was also known as Plateau. So they got swallowed up by us of this continent. The originals, the aboriginals, the copper colors. First applied to the Americans, aboriginals. Nothing to do with Australia or any of that. The American aboriginals, or whatever you want to call us, but we surface and come from this land. The Tonchonist ones, the Tonchons. So then, we're going to go into, because it says right here, about 2,000 people lived there in 2018, including 100 known descendants of survivors of Clotilda. Among the descendants of Charles Lewis and his wife Maggie, that's what they changed their names to, who was also born in Africa. And a great-great-grandson, Amir Khalib Thompson, the 21st century drummer and music producer known as Questlove. He can trace his roots back. And you knockoffs can't trace your roots back to a ship. He traced his back.
Yup.
Because that slave story y'all got, it's not true. It's not given to you true. It's got a whole lot of B12 on there. It's caked up and baked up. It's not real. As you can see, this slave ship only brought over 110. Not 110 million. And then, Questlove, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is descended from their son, Joseph, and his wife. And he got all this knowledge through oral history, oral tradition was given to him. Not only that, he traced it back. He didn't have to trace it back, but he traced it back and traced it all the way back into these people that came, born in Africa, came from West so-called Africa. And y'all have no clue, no idea. You give an oral history like they have, and y'all disrespect your family. And say, nah, we knockoffs. We knock off so-called Africans. We came here on boats. Y'all want to be victims so bad, man. Victims. Getting victimized. 110 million, 20 million, 5 million y'all brought here. No warriors. You know what we call that in the hood? Curs. Y'all come from a cur bloodline. If that's what y'all believe, that narrative, y'all come from punks. A bloodline of punks. That's probably the reason why some of y'all is punks. Because y'all come from that bloodline. Y'all descend from a cur bloodline. Y'all should be cooled out. If these Caucasians take you out, you should be taken out, man. We ain't got no more room for suckers, man. It's time for the real deals to step in. So then we're going to go into this one. Another smoking gun. Okay, Questlove, a drummer, producer, head of the Roots. His 3-time great-grandparents, Charles Lewis, and his wife, Maggie, listed in the 1880 census. Shout out to Phoenix Moon. Them census. Girl, you killing them with what you just did, that last move. 1880 census, was born in Africa. He can trace, Questlove can trace his ancestry straight on the ship. On the ship and then back to the shores of so-called West Africa. Tribe and all that. And his people are not mingling with your people, don't know your people or any of that. Any of you knockoffs. And y'all can't even trace yours back. He tracing them straight back to Catilda. Now go ahead and get into this one right here. Go ahead. Young King. Go ahead and show him.
The story of Africatown. The story of Africatown is not the story of Clotilda, but the possible rediscovery of the slave ship's wreckage. It is a reminder that while the ship had no future after its faithful 1860 voyage...
Hold on, what year?
1860.
Man, everybody's like, go and do your ancestry. Do your research. This is going on in 1860, a ship. People getting enslaved in this time? Are you serious? 1860? The last ship? My people are out there owning farms and all that. No, that's what I'm telling y'all, man. The slave story is a joke, man. It's not given to you like that, man. It's all B12. It's blow up. Y'all got these Caucasians running around like they superhumans, gods. If they took a 100 million of y'all, none of y'all soldiers, 5 million, 6, whatever million y'all talking about, how many of them did it take? Was y'all that weak? It should have been more of y'all than them. What, they came 5 million of them versus 5 million of y'all and they got y'all? Or what was it, 100,000 of them that took 20 million of y'all? And this is why people were so, with this fake slave narrative and blow up B12, got y'all all racist. And it's sad because I remember being young, man, out in these streets, man, and hearing this type of stuff and mad at them, like, looking at the Caucasians like, man, who are they? Like, these people, our people have made them like superheroes through history to where we ready to test them. We smashing them on sight and everything. Making bets and everything in the hood. Like, first Caucasian walk through here, it don't matter the size or whatever, I'm smashing them. Had us knocking out these Caucasians and stuff for nothing, man. Because we angry thinking that these cats done did all this. These ain't no superheroes, man. They ain't coming through doing that. They the masters of trickery. And y'all got them like they the gods. Oh man, it was 5 of them, and they took 500,000 of us. Come on, man, are you serious? Y'all that much suckers to believe that? Come on, man. Let's do the work.
Those in prison aboard it did. Even though it's a terrible story, it's uplifting. Historian Sylvain Diouf said in a 2007 Press Register interview about her groundbreaking book on the subject, it's not about what was done to them, it's about what they did. They came as children, maintained their traditions, their language.
They did what?
Maintained their traditions and language.
Oh, are you guys hearing this? I thought this was taken from you. I thought you couldn't have none of this. I thought all that was forbidden. This right here, you're reading this out of Africatown. Wikipedia was this story. This right here correlates exactly with it and even goes into a little bit more detail. They both got different details and everything. But this one's on AmericaOnline.com. This one's out of Wikipedia. So let's go into the highlighting. Let's go into, what does this say?
Still strangers in a strange land. The Africans formed a self-reliant community where they could maintain their language and customs.
There it goes again. Maintain their language and customs that you guys were saying was forbidden, you couldn't do, they're maintaining this stuff. We can't make this up, man. And what else?
Some of the other former Clothel's slaves, Clotilda slaves, found their way back to the group.
Some of the former Clotilda slaves found their way back to the group. Highlight it.
Tight-knit community.
They were a tight-knit community.
Whites and African Americans.
Hold on. They were a tight-knit community known for sharing and helping one another. But reportedly, y'all check this out, but reportedly had tense relations with both whites and so-called African Americans. And so largely kept to themselves. They wasn't trying to deal with these wild aboriginals over here, man. And them Caucasians was, you know, they was just as wild and you know, being around us and all that. So these so-called Africans, these people wasn't trying to deal with the ones over here. They like, nah, I'm not trying to deal with the aboriginals and I'm not trying to deal with them Caucasians. Let's just stick to ourselves and stay the heck away from these people. So he died. The main one, whose name is Cujo Kazula Lewis. He died in 1935. He was 94. Is a legendary figure in his own right as an embodiment of africatown heritage. But I want y'all to focus on something, man. Because, I mean, tight-knit community known for sharing and helping one another, but reportedly had tense relations. Known for sharing and helping one another, but reportedly had tense relations with both whites and African Americans, so-called the Aboriginals, and so largely kept to themselves. So then we're going to go into, it says, first a few years as slaves and then in freedom. Not only did they have to contend with, y'all got this, the highlighted moment, prejudice from whites, but don't even say African Americans, the so-called, you know, that little false word, but their black neighbors. Consider them to be, their black neighbors considered them to be, considered them to be oddities who were crude, fierce, and inscrutable. So not only did they have to contend with prejudice from whites, but their black neighbors considered them to be oddities who were crude, fierce, and inscrutable. So, you know, them aboriginals was really upset. They was mad. They're like, who is these cats coming over here setting up shop? And, you know, so they was going through it with them. Just as well as the Caucasians was bringing the heat on them. So they was going through it. And then it says, Africatown maintained a sense of apartness from Mobile, Alabama, well into 20th century. Mobile was a small city and plateau. Was an outlying area amid marshy and undeveloped terrain. They gave him the undeveloped terrain. They was over there in some undeveloped terrain, like over there in so-called Africa. We're going to go into some stuff, man. Trust me, y'all. We're going to break some stuff down about that flag, the Pan-African movement, and all that, man. So as y'all can see, they're going through this. So let's go to this. Despite the challenges, AFRICATOWN's story is too special to be lost. In fact, and recently was catapulted back to national attention via an unexpected connection on PBS genealogy show, Finding Your Roots. In one episode, this might have been why, you know, they didn't want that genealogy, the cotton swab thing, or any of this stuff got taken off. Because when you go into this where it says PBS genealogy show Finding Your Roots, in one episode, the influential musician and author Amir Questlove Thompson learns that his personal family heritage includes an ancestor, Charles Lewis. See, this is through Ancestry Records. The fake cotton swab stuff, it takes you straight over to the continent. You don't even know who your grandfather, great-grandfather, 3-time grandfather, grandmother, 4-time, any of that. And right here it tells you that Questlove Thompson learns that his personal family heritage includes an ancestor, Charles Lewis, who was taken aboard the Clotilda and became one of AFRICATOWN's founders. As a thunderstruck Questlove process, what host Henry Louis Gates is telling him, Gates spells out just how rare the AFRICATOWN legacy is. You know, listen to this, y'all knockoffs. This is Henry Louis Gates Jr. saying this. He's telling Questlove, you know, every so-called African American that we know wants to know where in Africa they come from, and then how they came here. Gates says, you are the only African American I've ever met who came or who can name the ship. You are, Questlove, the only one that he has met that can name a ship, claim the ship. What more can we talk about, people? What more is there? And they keep pressing us with this. Y'all don't go for that cotton swab thing. I can tell you that right now. That's bogus. And it's a lot deeper probably than some stuff that people would know. So I can tell you when I was, you know, I had to go away on vacation some years back. Way back, once upon a time in my lifetime. And this was way back, like in the early 90s. They was trying to cotton swab us and stuff. The guards and stuff was coming in and trying to force us cotton swab. They was holding people down, the goon squad and all that. Forcing people to do these cotton swabs. And we was refusing. And we fought them in the law library. And got that mess up out of there. Unless you got probable cause, you ain't finna just come through and tell us we got to cotton swab you. So y'all got to be careful with that. And I can tell you, these cats got an agenda, man, that's pushing that. And it's not a real nice agenda. It's not. Anytime you go into the narrative they gave you, of these big bad Caucasian guys that enslaved you and beat you, and it was a few thousand of them, and they snatched up 100 million of y'all and was beating you and mistreating you, and y'all couldn't fight back, and y'all was cursed and getting raped and just done any kind of way, and y'all believe y'all come from a punk bloodline. That's what we call y'all up in, you know, once upon a time, behind them walls, them gates. They call y'all punks. Y'all some curs. You descend from curs. From suckers. So then, here's what they done. Thanks to you people out there doing what y'all need to do. Because a lot of these people are stupid. This is for you DNA cats. You see that?
Your phone turned off.
That's what we think about your DNA. That's what people are showing you. About your cotton swab. They had a dog do it. A person set it up with a dog. So go and look that up, y'all. Y'all see that? Want to make sure y'all can see that. And on that note, show them your hat, man. Keep it. Y'all better continue to tribe up with them copper people. Know who you are. Tribe up. But before all that, you gotta wise up. Gotta start thinking, doing your research, digging. Once you wise up, then you can tribe up. That means you learn your oral history. Go to your peoples, your family, your relatives. Do your research. FamilySearch.org, Ancestry.com. You know, your local libraries. They got all that public access. Then you go there, you do your research. Then you can tribe up. You get what you tribe. So everybody don't get along because we all ain't all the same tribes. You think everybody in that so-called continent they call Africa get along? They ain't dealing with each other like that. Somalians ain't dealing with Zimbabweans like that. So you gotta tribe up. Then you can rise up. And get these oppressors off your chest. Because it ain't really nothing that they doing. It's what you doing. Our position and what we're doing has got us in the position that we're in. So y'all got to understand that. And oh yeah, we got some heat coming. Shout out to Phoenix Moon. Woo! That last video, she did that dude in, man. Hey, Autochthonous one. Man, bruh brought heat. He brought some heat, man. Him and his little panel, his little clique he got over there, man, they brought heat. And Dane Calloway, his last one on the slave voyages and went into the details of that. You see that? Y'all handling business, man. We all handling business. Everybody just play their part. And keep bringing us truth. Keep digging. Because it's everywhere, man. It's spilling out. On that note, we out. Feathers up. Wise up.
Wise up.
Tribe up.
Tribe up.
And rise up.
Rise up.
You know what it is. Two birds of the same feather.
Yup.